Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife. I have a special guest on today, a follower of the page. He is the lead actor in one of my all-time favorite movies, Boondock Saints, which is incredible. Also, he's got a brand new book that just dropped. He's been pushing that around, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to talk about that. But also, the main reason I really have him on today is because he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, legitimate black belt. Runs a studio and stuff like that. So I'd like to introduce Sean Patrick Flanery. What's going on, dude?
Hello. How are you, brother? It's an honor
I'm
and
doing
pleasure to be here, man.
fantastic.
It cracks me up to no end on the daily.
Well, thank you, man. I'm glad that we can provide some laughs and some smiles and some entertainment, man. I know that I'll be in Texas in February. I'm trying to figure out. I'll be in Houston.
Brother, you got to come by the garage, man.
I'm going to. I never go anywhere unless I have reasons to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be going for open mat thing that I'm going to do. I'm making an open mat in a bar.
An open mat for?
Just to have it. Just for McDojoLife. I'm going to host an open mat inside a bar, relaxed atmosphere, DJ playing. People can have a few drinks or whatever, get on the mat, roll, have a good time. And
I'll be there.
Yes, and the headquarters for the place is by you.
Martial arts or jiu-jitsu or what?
Everything.
Brother, I will 100% be there, man.
Yeah, it's a concept that I've been talking about because I always like that Bender thing off of Futurama. You ever watch Futurama?
No,
No, there's a robot on there, but he has a famous meme, and he says, but the tagline is, "But at mine there'll be blackjack and hookers." So like, it'd be fun is if I made a martial arts event like that was just real relaxed and adult, and it didn't have to be so proper. And I went to this place called the Kung Fu Saloon. They have a lot of them in your area, actually. And
it's called Kung Fu Saloon?
Kung Fu Saloon.
And it's in Houston?
Yeah, their headquarters.
No shit. Where?
Shit, I can't tell you. I don't really know.
Give it to me later. But that's where you're gonna have the open mat?
Yeah, so I'm going to their headquarters. They sent me these things, which I got to give you one, by the way. They sent me 3, and I only need 1. But when I get up there, they sent me one of these medallions.
Yeah,
see it? It's like nunchuck beer bottle medallion.
No shit. Yeah.
Right, and basically, I get a discount for life with this. How cool is that, though, dude? Isn't that cool?
Brother, you gotta hook me up, man.
Oh, of course. They gave me 3, and I only need 1, so I'll give you 2, and you can give 1 to anybody else. Like,
beautiful.
Yeah.
So, what's the date? When are you gonna be here?
I don't know yet. So I have to go to Nashville. I don't know. I think it's the week of the 18th.
Yeah.
So it's probably might be the week after that. I'm looking for the weekend of like the probably the 28th through March 3rd is what I'm looking at.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I think it'd be a good time. Like, cause you invited me, but then I was like, that's a long way to go to just train. And I was like, and jet lag always kills me. I always need like a day to like get myself together. But now that their headquarters is there, and I was like, hey, I want to do an open mat. I want to work with you guys. And I hit them up, and they were like, okay, we can work something out. And I was like, well, what were you thinking? And they were like, well, you tell us, and we'll work with you. I was like, well, I do have one idea. And I was expecting them to shoot it down. I'm like, no, there's no way. They were like, we love it. Let's make it happen. I was like, no shit. Get the fuck out of here.
So are they going to source the mats and everything?
Yeah. What I'm going to try to do is get a sponsorship. So once they agree, then what I'm going to try to do is get it sponsored so that way I can get some mats. But the way that the bar is structured is incredible. The way the bar is structured is it has an inside area, like a dance floor.
Yeah.
And then it also has like an outside area, which is almost similar to like a odd playground, I guess you could say. It's got like picnic tables and stuff, and it's got like a, outside Jenga, but it's like basically an area where people play cornhole. Inside, it's like lined with video game arcade machines all the way on the outside perimeter. Middle of it's a bar, but there's enough space there to where I could have 3 different open mat areas. Like one in the middle, the main dance floor would be like jiu-jitsu, and people can just like, I'll have a guy there like bouncer for the jiu-jitsu, and to make sure everybody keeps everything cool. Only allow like a 3 drink maximum. So after you've had 3 drinks, like I can't let you back on the mat kind of thing because, you might get sick or, that's a little too much. But 1 drink and get on the mat and roll. Shit, I do that all the time in my house.
Well, you should have like a cocktail tournament where like you can enter the 3 cocktail division or the 4 cocktail division or the 100. Like the absolute would be like the fully inebriated.
Oh, that would be fucking great. I'd love to see that. So like, what is it like? You get
on the Dillman mat, chi blasting the shit out of people.
but I lift my big toes and I do this. No, but that'd be an interesting concept. I don't know how legal it would be, but it would damn sure be a good time. Even if I didn't do it at a bar, I'd do that at my house. Like, all right, guys, everybody take a shot, and we're getting on the mat. Like, do rounds. I see how long somebody lasts, how long we can get it before they throw up or pass out.
I'm there, brother. I'm there. Whenever you organize it, I'm there.
Oh, cool, man. Well, when I get down there, you can just go with me to the place, and I'll introduce you to them, and I'm sure they'd get a kick out of meeting you. And that way, whenever you go to the bars and stuff like that, because I drink, I have a good time. But whenever you go up there, if you decide that you're gonna like hit up the bar or whatever, you can just go in and I'm sure they'll hook you up. So that's pretty cool.
Done.
But yeah, like I want to talk about a little bit about your martial arts journey, man. Like I was completely unaware that you had trained jiu-jitsu because you're a 3rd-degree black belt, right?
Yes, yeah, 3rd-degree black belt.
Which takes a long ass time to do. That's not like something you can be like, poof, I'm a black belt. Congratulations. How long have you been training?
Man, I got my black belt May 4th of 08. And John Danaher held me down while Sean Williams beat me on the back of the head with it as a surprise. And that was May 4th of 08, a long time ago. I started with Hickson back almost 20 years ago, man.
Oh, wow. So you've been training that long.
Yeah, a long time ago. And oddly enough, my first class, the first class that I went to, there was Jerry Banks had a karate studio in the Palisades. And some guy came in and started putting mats down on a hardwood floor. And, I saw the patch and it said what I thought was Rickson and then Gracie. Because I've been a martial artist since I was 9. Started legit in a 100% McDojo.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, my martial arts journey actually started because of Elvis Presley. Everybody's got a story about Bruce Lee movies. Man, I saw Elvis doing Suspicious Minds. We're caught in a trap.
Yeah, man.
Because I love you too much. And I saw that. And, he had like the kimono and the big, and I thought, oh, Dad, does he know karate? And my dad was like, yeah, I think he studies with the old man, Ed Parker Kempo karate. And there was a place down on the corner. I saw this girl, Glenda Bilbo, pushing a bicycle every day with white gi pants, and she'd go in there. And obviously, every decision I've ever made in my life is because of a chick. So I followed Glenda in there one day, signed up for that martial art, and I never looked back. But that was a full McDojo. My granddaddy used to call him. His name was Jimmy Dean. No shit. So
That's his fucking name. That's his real name.
That was his legit name. So my granddaddy used to call him Sensei Sausage. And one day, some guys. There was a back door to the dojo, and I was 8 years old. I was 9 years old when I started. 9, and somebody came into the back door. And they go, "Hey, they're stealing it! They're breaking into a car! They're breaking into a car!" So the whole class, this full squirt squadron, ran out of the door with Sensei Sausage leading us, and we saw the guy running away down an alley. So, obviously I'm a composite of a ton of stupid decisions in my life. This is arguably probably one of the stupidest, but I ran after him with the sausage, and I only called him that in my brain because my granddaddy was funny as fuck. And I ran, and Sausage stopped because the guy that broke in had stolen a car stereo, and he went into a garage. The garage door was open, so it was pitch black outside. The street lights were illuminating us, and I stopped right by the Sausage. And all of a sudden, Sensei ran in to the garage. I stayed right in the street. We heard a scuffle, scream, yell, and then silence. And I turned, and right next to me, I turned right, and there's Glenda right next to me. She followed me out there. Dude busts out of the garage in the dark, sprints out of the garage. No telling what happened to Sensei. I tackle him. I'm 9 years old, like just brain dead. You know what I mean? I tackled this guy. I'm holding on to his leg. He keeps running. That's how tiny I am. I just kind of latch onto his leg. It wasn't even a tackle. He kept going until my head hits the other side of the curb, and he's banging me in the head with a car stereo. So no shit, I have like a treble knob kind of welts from a treble knob bashed in the side of my head. And then out of nowhere, boom, a cop really tackles him to the ground. And I'm left just holding this guy's shoe. I'm 9 years old, man. Anyway, long story short, Glenda's the only one that followed me out of there. When the cops turned the Q-beams onto the garage, my first instructor, McDojo, is tied to one of the beams that's holding up the roof with motherfucking jumper cables. No shit. The dude who stole had like won the fight and roped him with jumper cables.
So he beat him up so bad he was able to manhandle him and tie him up.
But memory serves, he wasn't even beat up. It's like there wasn't like blood and bruises. It's like part of me, like when I got older, I thought, man, was he just afraid? So he kind of put jumper cables around himself so he could say, oh no, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like in hindsight, you're like, man, how'd you get wrapped up with jumper cables? But but I was
like a moment for you where you like look back and you realize, like, was there like an epiphany there where you were like, yo, man, like maybe this guy doesn't know what he's talking about?
Well, I'll tell you, my granddaddy, one of the wisest cats I've ever said, always told me, I mean, my granddaddy was like, you train this stuff, but, a little bit of boxing, whoop them asses, and he was right, a little bit of boxing. Because, I mean, the stuff we did in that first academy was kind of nonsense. But my granddaddy always used to call him, he goes, oh, Sensei Sausage, that boy's a champ. And this is no disparaging comments about anybody, but this is a word from my granddaddy, who's one of the funniest, wisest humans I've ever come into contact with in my life. And he used to make a joke about Sensei. He'd go, that boy's a champ. And I said, what do you mean he's a champ? And he said, well, some boys out there, they don't like girls. They like boys. I said, well, what does that mean? He goes, well, the one in front, he bend over and he take it like a champ. And that was his kind of term. And, yeah. I thought it was hysterical. Anyway, cut to 1993. My granddaddy sent me a VHS tape of the first UFC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. On the little Post-it note that he stuck to that, he said, "Look at this Gracky feller. Now this boy ain't no champ." That was my inauguration into the UFC on a VHS tape.
I think that's how a lot of people got introduced. I know that I had been already taking karate, very similar. Like, I don't think my first dojo was a McDojo. Like, my instructor was a talented man, pretty well known in the community and stuff like that. But they had the wrong impression, I guess you could say, about other arts, which is how most arts do, right? Back in the day, if you did karate, all the karate guys were like, why would you do jiu-jitsu? That's gay. Bunch of grown men rolling around. Or like, it was the same thing the other way though. Yeah. All the guys who were stand up, or all the jiu-jitsu guys were like, yeah, try to kick me in the head. I'm gonna choke you to sleep, you know? But that was before the UFC. Well, then I think mine probably wasn't until 94, 95, because 3 UFCs had already come out at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember getting these VHS tapes, and we were at the dojo and watching these VHS tapes. And like, because Hoist Gracie at the time was the man. Like, he was the guy. He was the figurehead of the Gracie family, leading jiu-jitsu to the forefront of combat arts. And dude, it was incredible to watch what he did, and because we didn't know what the hell we were looking at. Yeah. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't see. Now I can see a game plan.
You remember Jim Brown? I think it was when Hoist fought Dan Severn. Jim Brown, Hoist had him in a trap triangle, didn't lock it in yet. But Jim Brown's going, ain't nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Whoa. He tapped. What happened? It was just, nobody knew what a triangle was at that point.
Bill Wallace, you remember Bill Wallace?
Of course, Superfoot.
Yeah, man. Like, which I have a pretty funny story about meeting Bill Wallace. But Bill Wallace was like one of the first commentators for the UFC.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, he was one of the only people who he was like not the color commentator, although he's a pretty colorful guy himself. But he was the I guess you could say like the expert, the subject expert commentator. Yeah. And so when he was talking, like a lot of things, like if you look back and listen to his commentary, he was pretty much dead on. But no one else had even a hint, a clue of how jiu-jitsu worked or how grappling was a thing. Yep. It was just they were guessing. Now, if you listen to the commentations now, even the guys who are in the audience are like, "Oh man, he better watch out because that rear naked choke is," there's a knowledge.
Yep.
So I think that's interesting how much that shows that the sport has evolved. But because the sport's evolved, that means the art itself has evolved. You know, more people are doing it. More people are, having to deal with those issues of, what if this happens? What if that happens? And it develops the art. I do somewhat, though, miss the older style Grand Prix tournaments that they did like that, where it was style versus style. Yeah. But that doesn't really exist anymore. And I think that's a shame, man.
No, it doesn't exist. But I have to say, my favorite moments of watching all UFC were, I think at the base of all men, their desire is to find out if two guys went down a dark alley, who would come out. And now with all the rules and everything else, that's not necessarily the case. I mean,
everybody's already the word, because back in the day it wasn't MMA, it was NHB, and everybody called it NHB.
But NHB is who would come out of a dark alley alive.
Yeah, and then
it was, and that's kind of at our core. What I think everybody wants to know is, if two guys each wanted each other's material possessions, who would leave out with the wheelbarrow? And nowadays, it's people. I mean, look, I still love MMA. I still watch every event, but now, there's a little bit of tactics involved and strategy to game the system. It's I mean, nobody's going to cut weight to meet in a dark alley on a night. You know what I mean? It's like, it's I mean, gloves that protect hands, the rounds where, I mean, you see rounds that end with a guy in a full triangle, or rounds that end with a guy that's stanky leg. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's there's no coming back from those things.
I kind of get it, and I kind of think it sucks, but it makes sense. Like the state athletic commission steps in, they try to make it a legitimate sport, but it always pisses me off because they always go back and forth with, it could be a legitimate sport, it could be so much better than it is. They've already done leaps and bounds to make it better, but then every time they make some of these leaps and bounds changes, the UFC in particular, it seems like they get a little bit farther and farther away from what it's really supposed to be. For instance, they do these Reebok deal, right? Screws a lot of fighters out of their sponsorship dollars. A lot of fighters had to jump ship because of that. They go to Bellator, they're able to keep their fighters or their sponsors, which means they can keep a little bit more money in their pocket, right? And but for the UFC, their goal there was to make it professional. We want it professional. But if you look at NASCAR's got sponsors slapped all over the damn place, and they don't feel like that's unprofessional. It's just another way of paying the bills. But then on one hand, they want to do that and make it professional, right? But then they turn around and they'll make it so that way they'll let any celebrity fight for a title, it seems. They're like, you know what? You got a lot of followers. People will watch this fight. Get your ass up here and fight for a title shot. Like what? There's a dude who's like 8-1, who's worked his way up the bracket, right? He's busted his ass to try to get there, and he's got to wait because some celebrity who's 3-2 decides that he wants to get up there and take a swing at the title shot. I think that's kind of jacked up. It defeats the whole purpose,
Yeah. I got a lot of followers. I'm going to go to the Daytona 500, man.
I'm going to get in a car. They're going to love this.
I know it is kind of nonsense. I mean, it's, they waver back and forth on, is it a pro athletic endeavor or is it show business?
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Pay-per-view numbers, they dictate everything. If people wanted to see the guy from McDojoLife fight more than they wanted to see John Jones, mark my word, you'd get a title shot.
Yeah, which is crazy to think, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Super Bowl's coming up, right? We're in January. Super Bowl's in a couple weeks, right? Next week. So Super Bowl's coming up, right? And imagine if that's how that sport worked.
Yeah.
They had all this bracket system and all this put into place, all this structure, and then they got all the way up to the championships, right? Let's say it's the Patriots, and who's going to the Super Bowl this year? It's Patriots and the Rams, right? Let's say, because a lot of people are hating on the Patriots, right? Not that I give a shit either way, but a lot of people are like, oh man, I don't want to see them in the Super Bowl again. I can't stand that. Like, I want somebody else to be in there, right? So a lot of people are like, boo. But let's say that was the case, right? And people are like, I'm not going to watch Super Bowl this year because it's always the same teams. Imagine if the NFL just was like, you know what? This team got more viewers. I know you won the championship. Good job. But get the hell out of here. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. What? Like, it just, that's what it feels like to me at the UFC level. It's like they're doing that is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But you have a book, right?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. I took a bit off 3 years ago to write my first and only at this point book. I'd written for a number of years. I actually moved out to LA to be a writer, and I wrote for periodicals, Details and various magazines, and the editor of Jane magazine, if you ever remember that magazine, now defunct, but she called me and she read a piece that I wrote for, I don't even remember what she read, but she said, I'd like you to write something for my magazine. And I thought, I have no idea what could possibly lend to a woman's magazine, but she said, why don't you write about your first kiss? And I thought, wow, serendipity. I said, there's always a story that I wanted to write. Something happened to me when I was 8 years old. A girl I met that kind of changed everything that I thought I understood about the world. And so I wrote this short story for her magazine, and it came out, and a number of companies came out of the woodwork trying to get the rights to it. So I thought I was onto something. I didn't want to sell it. It was a little too personal to me to just sell outright the rights to it. So I sat on it for a number of years, and then 3 years ago I took time off to actually put it down in a manuscript form. And I was just going to release it on my blog, but I sent it out for some blurbs to some colleagues of mine, and they convinced me to try to pursue getting it traditionally published. So, and then lo and behold, I did. I got it published. So, and it's
awesome. So what is like the concept of the book? So this is something that actually happened to you, right? This is a true story. This is an autobiography.
Yeah, I wrote it at the bottom of the book. It says a novel, but I wrote it as a novel just so people wouldn't burn my house down.
Okay.
To protect the innocent. But yeah. It's it's a love story to Texas. It's a love story to a girl. And it's a love story to my granddaddy, one of the most influential people I've ever met on my journey so far. So it's and the reception has been pretty positive. It's been incredibly flattering, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, like I noticed that because obviously I follow your Instagram, you follow my Instagram. That's how we got chit chatting and stuff. And you're always giving my page a little bit of a hard time, which is always hilarious to me. I love reading your comments because when you do your comments on my page, it's always based off of like your third person perspective of being a chi master, which I find to be the most funny thing in the world to me. So because I sift through my comments, but I don't read all of them. Like they always tell you, like the bigger you get, the less you should read your comments because it's just full of hate. Yeah. So I usually try to take that advice the best I can, but then I'll see your stuff up there because Instagram is cool about separating that stuff now. So like when I go to look at comments, people I follow, their comments are always the top for me. So I can just see theirs first, which is nice. And I'll look at your comments and stuff, and it's always the funniest shit to me. Like you're trying to convince people that the spleen 6 will really work. like
you have no idea though, brother. People send me DMs like trying to convince me that the sphincter 12, if impacted with the spleen 19, will not render you unconscious and compromise you in a sexual situation. And I'll them to no end, and they'll send me like hate DMs. It's the people, and I'm like, they're like, you when did you get your Dillman black belt? And I'm like, well, I got my black belt, and obviously like after he's defunct, it's like somebody was like, first of all, that's stolen valor. I'm like, first of all, you have to have valor to steal it. It's like if you claim you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you go somewhere, people are going to find out real quick. You know what I mean? It's like
as soon as you high five bump knuckles, they'll know.
Exactly. The math doesn't lie. People are going to know immediately because it's not a martial arts that's practiced in theory. It's practiced every day in reality. Like, okay, you learn something. Let's see if it works. I mean, what's Dillman going to do? Is he going to no touch me?
Yeah. The funny thing about George Dillman is I other people have communicated directly with him. I typically try not to.
Yeah.
because I have a documentary I'm going to be doing. So I'm trying to save all of those juicy morsels for when I do that, because I know most likely the first interaction I have with these people may probably be the last one that I ever have. So I try to make sure that each one of those interactions are fruitful in some way to inform people of either the level of crazy that they have, or to inform people a little bit more about, like, you know, how people are getting taken advantage of, or how charismatic these guys are. People don't know how charismatic these people really are. Like, they always wonder, like, how do they fall for it? It's because on screen right now, he's already hypnotized all of those people. He spent years brainwashing them. This is not something he just snapped his fingers to. Like, we get to walk in. This is like an inside look, like a fly on the wall, to a true cult-like behavior. And it's very, very, very icky and odd. And it's something that I don't think most people will experience. And I'm really hoping that I can try to reach more people before they go to those places and waste 5 years of their life, 10 years of their life, even a year, which is the average. You know, your year's gone. It's over.
That's crazy to me, man. I mean that is actually mind-boggling to me. That people, like, there's people that claim they're Dillman black belts that send me DMs on about, you're not a Dillman. I'm like, oh my God, if you don't get the humor and the nonsense, and, you know, but they really get offended. And I'm thinking,
they do. You know, what's funny is they avoid me like the plague unless they're giving me death threats.
Yeah.
Like, they won't actually engage me in a legitimate debate argument because it makes sense to them. You know, to them, they don't want to hear logic because they want to be able to almost sell it to me like a religion.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have anything wrong with that. I think that everybody has the right to their opinion and their religions and their beliefs, and all that's good, right? But if our job is self-defense, self-defense is rooted in facts, and you can't get away from certain facts, right? There's a reason that there are weight classes. There's a reason for that, right? Because size matters. There's a reason that most of the guys who train in the MMA and in the UFC community and the Bellator community, most of those guys have black belts in something because they took the time to study and develop their technique to make themselves better, which is also a factor. You know, so there are so many factors when it comes to protecting yourself in a physical altercation. A weapon might be involved. All these different things that are what ifs. One of those what ifs is not whose chi is better. That's never been a thing. You know what? Real fast, before you punch me in the face, voodoo, and you're knocked unconscious. It doesn't work that way. That's a fantasy land that's dangerous to convince people of, because they might actually believe you. You know?
They're going out into the world. They're walking outside of a department store in a dark parking garage thinking, oh, if somebody comes up to me, I'll just render them unconscious with my eyes. It's like, that's just patently irresponsible as a martial artist to give that kind of nonsense confidence to somebody that's not going to put their life in danger.
And what scares me the most about it isn't even necessarily that, because, you know, I've been at this for about 5 years now, martial arts for 21 years, but the McDojoLife thing for 5. And as I've been learning and developing, I feel like I'm almost like working up the ranks of their ranks, like understanding how their systems work, learning more about like the details of how they're explaining things to people. Well, I can even tell you where the spleen 6 is. That's not something I should know. That's not like knowledge, you know?
You're right. You shouldn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird, right? But you study it, you watch it long enough, and I try to look at it objectively, because I'm not gonna lie. If I could find out I can knock people out with my mind, do you think I would continue to do jiu-jitsu? I'd be done.
Nor me. Nor me.
Yeah, I'd be done. I'd be like, all right, cool. I can knock people out with my mind. That's all I'm going to do now. You know, but you can't. You know, and that's proven time and time again. But, you know, I just think that it's a step away from having someone drink the Kool-Aid to me. It's a step away from having them do maybe a Charles Manson type thing where they've already convinced you that they're some type of a higher being, or they're more important than you, or they're put on this pedestal, which none of us are. You know, we're all just people. Whether you have a black belt or not, you're just a human being. Like, we're all just people. And I think that it's hard for a lot of people to understand when they first walk into a martial arts studio, because there's that like bigger than life like thing to an instructor, which, you know, it comes with that. Like, when another person, like especially in jiu-jitsu, nothing is more respectful to me than, or even stand-up kickboxing, than someone who can completely destroy you and dismantle you in a physical way, but just doesn't. But they still let you know nothing you do works. Every time you do some armbar, triangle choke, rear naked choke, guillotine, you're like, damn it. Like, how do I escape this? and they have that skill, but they're teaching it to you. So it's like a back and forth where you're learning from them and they're teaching you something and they want you to get better. That's a good instructor. They want you to be able to give them a hard time and to beat them so that way they get better. But then you have these guys like the Dillmans and stuff like that, where there will be no sparring because they'll hurt you. They'll it's too deadly. They would kill you. There is no back and forth. It's only give. The master, the instructor, and it's almost like a constant push and build to their ego. That's not healthy. That's not healthy for anybody, to be under someone's thumb,
Student, there's nothing that's subjective. I mean, the mat is very objective. You pump hands and you're going to find out if this instructor has the tools and the skills to actually teach me something. If he can comprehensively destroy you over and over again and even tell you what he's going to do and do it again against your will, that's one thing. You know what I mean? I came up through all kinds of martial arts, and even in Taekwondo, if you take the first belt that you get in Taekwondo, a yellow belt, if you take a D1 strong safety from University of Texas and get him in a fist fight with a yellow belt, do the same thing with a first belt in jiu-jitsu with a blue belt and grappling. That's going to be hard to overcome in one. In the other one, I don't know who I'd do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. That's where that technique just comes into play so much. Like actually understand. But I think that's a difference too. Is there's a true, tried and true system that's been forged in combat. You can actually watch them make this system. Like you can go back and watch the Gracie challenges. You can watch the UFCs. You can watch that in combat, and people are developing the systems constantly still. Like you were talking about Donna here, right?
Yeah.
Look at his guys. That is an evolution in the art. Look at Eddie Bravo's people. They're evolving this art. But then you look back and you're looking at all these other people who are trying to claim evolution in combat, and you just don't see it. It's the other arts are evolving. They're evolving. Like if you look at Taekwondo, right? That's the guy things they can do nowadays. They can fly, literally jump, spinning kicks, like they can fly, and that's developing their art. That's awesome. That's very impressive stuff. It looks good on movies. It's very cool, but the application of most of that, not so much, because that's not what they were trying to grow and develop. It's like do a 540 while I punch you in the face. Ready, practice. It doesn't work that way, Well,
I mean, you could always debate speed. If this guy is so quick, can he hit you? But you can't debate mechanical advantage. You can't. True. If I'm at the end of the seesaw and you're somewhere near the fulcrum, with human sizes, generally speaking, I don't care how big you are. If I'm at the end of the seesaw and you're near the fulcrum. You know what I mean? It's like all things being equal, absolutely size matters, but speed is debatable. I mean, you can refine it, you can maximize it, but leverage, that's based in physics. And if you have it and somebody else doesn't, they're in for a long day.
Yeah, my instructor had a saying that he gave me that I really liked. He said, you can accidentally knock someone out by hitting them. He said, it's very difficult to accidentally submit someone.
Well, you're not going to accidentally triangle somebody. Never. Whoa! What's this? Whoa! I've never won.
That's perfect. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I accidentally omoplated. That's just
a go-go plotter out of nowhere. How did I do this magic?
Yeah, exactly.
There's some people who have been having some stuff like in the feed, and I just kind of want to get to a little bit of that. I'm really, because some people are having some interesting comments here. So
yeah, man.
So first of all, we'll go with this one right off the bat. Matt, he said, all this is very cool, but when do I learn how to throw chi balls and disarm multiple knife attackers?
Right now.
Oh, snap. Bringing out the gun, son. Somebody was, when we were talking about your book, somebody wanted maybe if you could give a little brief description.
It's about a girl I met when I was 8 years old, and it's a love story to my granddaddy. It's about the list of the most important things that ever happened in my life that made me who I am today. And I'm not saying that's incredibly interesting, but it's a roadmap and a catalog to how I got where I am today. And again, I'm not saying that where I am today is something to be heralded. But it's all the monuments and the significant moments on my timeline, and I'm proud of it, man.
Well, I got to pick that up, dude. I'm definitely going to. Do me a favor, whenever we're done with this, send me a DM with a link so I can get your book, man. I'm really interested to read it.
You want to know why I got into martial arts? It's in that book. I mean,
really?
Yeah, absolutely. From the first fight that I ever got into, why I got into the fight, why I didn't run away from the fight. If you want to know why I got into the martial arts, it's in that book.
Awesome. Definitely. Let's see here. Oh yeah. By the way, we've been talking about the book, but you never actually said the name of the book. Tell people what the name of your book is.
You know, I happen to be here in my office, so that's the book. It's called Jane 2.
Okay. Cool, man. Definitely. And I'll try to send whenever you send me a link or whatever, I'll post that link up on this and when I upload it so that way people can purchase the book. So
you got it, brother.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a good question. It's actually a legitimate question. So what do you think of Doug Marcada? I guess it is. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And Kali. You want to take a stab at that one?
The martial art Kali, like a screaming Kali. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the stick fighting Filipino martial art.
You know, I think Dan Inosanto, Guru Dan, I think is made incredible contributions to the martial arts. You know, obviously big Kali guy as well. Seeing what some of those guys can do with sticks and blades is amazing. It's amazing. You know, but it's I find it amazing. It's an amazing martial art. Having said that, everybody has a mission statement for why you're training. My mission statement's different from yours, different from everybody's. My mission statement, the reason I got into martial arts is because I wanted to know self-defense. I wanted to be able to protect myself. And if you're talking about unarmed combat, then I believe, in my personal estimation, that I'm training in the martial art with the most real-world application. If you're talking about armed combat, then I'm going to carry it. So although I think it's amazing what you can do with the blade and what you can do with the stick, and those guys are amazing. I've never once seen one guy get out with a stick and another guy get out with a stick and they have a stick battle. But what they do is mind-boggling. Their ability to carry repo and fast. It's intriguing. It's a dance. It's fast. It's lightning quick. Their ability to strike vitals and parry at the same time is crazy to me.
I will send you something that I think you'll probably find interesting, just because of that last statement. Like you said, you've never seen two guys like basically spar with the stick, right? There actually is a group that does this, and they are understudies. Huh?
Are you talking about Dog Brothers?
Yes, dude. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Dog Brothers. I mean, those guys, I've gone to one of the first Dog Brothers in 2001, Dog Brothers in the Park. Of course, man. Dude. Of course, man. You know what the funny thing that I saw at Dog Brothers? They start with sticks, and they clinch, and it goes to the ground, and somebody gets arm locked.
Yes, this is very true. So David here has a very interesting.
Somebody gets bloody knuckles, and it goes to the ground, and then a guy takes his back and rear naked chokes him. It's like,
yeah, that is true. That is true. And they use the stick with the grappling.
Exactly. Exactly. They take the short butt end, and while they're on the back, they're cracking a guy on the head. It's like, you know what I mean? Positional dominance is positional dominance. And I mean, that's an amazing martial art to watch it. Their ability to do that is it's intriguing. It's like watching Cirque du Soleil. But my mission statement was self-defense. And if I'm going to get out, if I'm going to feel threatened and I'm going to choose to pull a weapon, it's probably not going to be an 8-inch stick.
Yeah. You know, people always give me a hard time about nunchucks, you know, because I enjoy them. I love it. It helps me keep my head.
Beautiful, right? Brother. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. But I would never in my wildest dreams go, oh shit, don't mug me. Hold on. And pull nunchucks out my back pocket. Like, of course it's not practical. Exactly. You know, doesn't mean I don't like it.
Exactly.
So David here tends to disagree. He said if it weren't for the cage, the ref, and the rules, BJJ becomes useless. Now, I'm gonna interject with this one real fast. So I will have to say this. BJJ countless times has been put up against fist fighters, street fighters, karate guys, taekwondo specialists, and not just thugs, but experts in their fields, and has still come on top multiple times. Now, am I saying it's the end-all be-all art? In my opinion, no. I think that we all should be constantly developing and growing. I think who the practitioner is important. Who your instructor is says a lot about how you're going to develop and grow. There's a lot of factors there, but useless? Nah, dog. I don't agree. What do you think?
I think David Miller sounds like somebody that's never tried jiu-jitsu, or if he did, he got tapped out. And, so the proof is in the pudding. It's like there's people that either accept it or they walk away. And I'll tell you, what we stopped at early on, how I got into jiu-jitsu. I was doing multiple martial arts, and I was doing them well. I was doing triathlons at the time. My cardio was ridiculous. My first jiu-jitsu class, Guy Ritchie, Madonna's husband, was in the class. Henry Akins, who's still a very dear friend of mine today and arguably the most influential instructor in my jiu-jitsu career. And Henry's little brother, Matt Akins, who was a blue belt at the time. And when it came time, I've been 170 my whole life, 175 pounds. I was an athlete doing triathlons, like I said. And when it came time to spar, my first class, Hickson's there. Luis Regia Le Mans was there. They said, pick somebody to spar with. Obviously, I was a white belt. I picked out Matt Akins because he's 135 pounds. And I'd heard so many mystical things about this martial art. I wouldn't be wanting to be a bully, but I said, if this guy can stalemate with me, I'll believe in this martial art. And I really thought, I'm probably going to get the better of him. But even if he hangs with me, man, that'll blow my mind. Because I knew Taekwondo, a yellow belt, roll the dice, man. If you take some big guy from your next door neighbor, a yellow belt, even an orange belt, you're like, I don't know. So this guy had a blue belt. We clap hands, tap. We clap hands again, tap. We clap hands, he's on my back, ankle lock, knee bar. Took my back, clock choke, cradle choke, wrist lock. The clouds parted. Now, there's two types of people on the planet, David. There's the type of person that says, well, without refs, I would have groin shotted and eye gouged and I would have chi blast. And there's a type of person that says, no, I got comprehensively manhandled. What do I need to exchange to have this power over another mortal? And it was signed up for two days a week. That lasted for about 4 days, and I changed it to unlimited classes because I'm a realist. I have never in my life, and I've trained just about every martial art known to man, I have never been that comprehensively dominated, destroyed, and manhandled in my life. Now, maybe even if I started with a stick, I probably could have gotten a couple of good cracks on him. He would still end up on my back choking me. I'm not saying I wouldn't have opened up a knot on his head, but Matt Akins, when I was an athletic stud, 170 pounds, he would have ended up on my back choking me. And it doesn't make me sound like a stud to admit that, because I'd gone through my life thinking, man, I've done martial arts my whole life. Man, this guy probably will stalemate with me. I got humbled that day. So I'm not saying now from my huge tower, everybody else is just a tiny imbecile. I'm saying that I was that guy. I was David Miller thinking, man, I don't know about this stuff. I went in there with doubts, and I really got humbled. And I'll tell you.
I want to add something to that.
Go ahead, brother.
A lot of people who start the martial arts and stuff like that with jiu-jitsu, they have that same experience, that humbled experience. But at the same note, that's a misconception a lot of people have, which is, oh, well, I would eye gouge, I would do this, basically alluding to the fact that those other people can't do the same.
Can't do it. It's like, that's what the magic of positional dominance. If I can put the whole concept of jiu-jitsu, a lot of people think the magic is a triangle or the magic is a rear naked choke. That's not the magic. The magic is my ability to take you down without getting injured, circumnavigate your body, and put myself into a position to dish out all the harm and receive none. That's the magic of jiu-jitsu. It's the least celebrated, but that's the magic. The icing on the cake is once you're back there, okay, give me 5 minutes. I can teach you how to choke the guy. But what's going to take you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 is how to get to a person's back against their will and do it over and over and over again without getting bit, eye gouged, your hair pulled, or getting struck in a vital organ. And if you practice that with regularity, you'd be blown away how efficient it can be against an untrained person.
That was probably one of the best explanations of jiu-jitsu I've heard in a very long time. It's very, very, very true.
But I mean, you're in this martial art a long time. You hear people, they ask you like, well, how come it's better than X or Y? I mean, you're talking to a guy that's done X and Y. And I can honestly say that I went into my first class having done X, Y, Z, K, J, S, and I got manhandled. I got manhandled by Matt Akins, who was 135 pounds, and he could have taken every material possession I owned if he wanted. If we met in a dark alley, Matt Akins, I don't care, as much striking as I'd have, he would end up on my back and he would take everything. If Matt Akins grabbed my chick's ass and I tried to say, hey, don't do it again, Matt Akins is going to grab my chick's ass again. That makes you either sign up or go into this oblivion like, well, if there weren't refs there, I would have X, I would have Y. There's nothing I could do. And it takes a humble human being to go, you know what? How do I learn this? Because I don't have an answer for that. I don't have an answer. And the people that don't train it, that think they do, I mean, this has been, there's hardly any sport that's been that universally proven. There's very few people, if at all anymore, that enter the cage that don't know that martial art. There's plenty of people that don't specifically know Muay Thai. There's people that don't know specifically boxing. Everybody has some striking, but there's very different styles. There's nobody that gets in there that doesn't know how to positionally dominate you once on the ground.
Yeah, my instructor, my jiu-jitsu instructor kind of explained MMA to somebody in a very dumbed down way, and it was very well put. He basically said MMA is whatever art you do and jiu-jitsu. Yeah, you do boxing and jiu-jitsu.
You're 100% right. If you miss that, if you don't have that at all and the other guy does, the fight's over, man.
Yeah, it's important. Somebody did ask about your gun. What kind of gun is that?
Well, let me be honest with you here. This is one of my prized possessions. Check this out. This is my signature John Wayne Colt 45. Check it out. BB gun. CO2 BB gun.
That's awesome. That thing will get you shot by the police, though. I will say that.
I got a couple acres here, though. It's in my backyard.
Somebody did throw up a link to your book, which is awesome. Actually, I trained with Joe. He is not only is he a Dan Inosanto black belt, but by now he might even be a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, maybe, or a high purple. But the dude's legit. Tap me out all the time. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that, man.
And he sent a link to my book?
Yeah, he put up a link. He just put it up in the feed so people can buy it.
Oh, no shit, man. I'm stoked at the martial artist Reddit. That's very cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Thank you for reading it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Joe's a good guy. This is a good one. This is very interesting. It said, what is your view on Chinese martial arts in general? Have any thoughts on Chinese martial arts? I guess we're talking Kung Fu is a little bit more like Wushu, that kind of stuff.
Well, here's what I'll say. I don't have a view on Chinese martial arts or Brazilian martial arts. I have a view on effective martial arts. It's like saying, what do you think about, British music? I like good music. I don't care where it comes from. I don't like a song that registers out of a 1 to 10, an 8 if it's from the UK, or an 8 from France. I don't like the one from the UK because they're both an 8. It's like martial arts. I like martial arts because of their practicality, because of their real world application. That's all I care about. After that, I don't care. I don't care how beautiful something is. I can go to the ballet if I want to see something beautiful. But for me, for my mission statement, I want things that work in the real world, because my mission statement is I got into it to potentially save my life one day. And so I could walk down the high school hallway and think, man, if I don't have to get my will bent repetitively until it breaks. I can actually, with some semblance of confidence, say, no, don't do that again. Yeah. I don't have to rely on the charity of the bully to not get my lunch money stolen. That's why I got into the martial arts. So Chinese martial arts, I don't care if it's Chinese. I don't care if it's Brazilian, Japanese. I happen to think visually the Chinese martial arts are some of the most beautiful on the planet. Without question. Without question, they're some of the most beautiful.
I think there's a time and a place for everything, especially in the arts. I think that people get caught up in the fact that martial arts is two different words. Martial arts. I think there's a side of it that's martial. That's all application. It's all self-defense. It's, will this work when I need it to work? How can I overcome adversity with my technique? If I'm not big, how can I use my speed? Blah, 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 right? There's that side of it. And which is what I spent most of my life doing is that side of it. And then there's the side of it where, let's say hypothetically, you got a 110-pound dude, not very skillful in combat. Maybe his timing is off, maybe his footwork is off. But when he picks up, like, let's say, for instance, like a bow, right? And he picks up that long stick and he just starts whipping it around, right? It's a beautiful thing. We need that too, right? Kung Fu movies would be shitty without Kung Fu. John Wick would be less cool if it wasn't for stunt choreographers who looked at that and go, you know what? We could just run up there and rear naked choke him.
You know what? Hey, strip clubs would be shitty without gymnastics on a pole. They just
exactly. You see what I'm going with here? Also, $5 will get you the show.
Something that you posted today. These guys kicking each other in the nuts. Like, I don't see the real world application. To me, that's my genetic legacy. Probably the most important thing that I came equipped with. I don't understand that. I mean, I get it. But I look at that stuff with equal amazement. That I look at George Dillman. These guys that are hanging things off their testicles because they're in some. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. You're right. There's a separation. My mission statement was more on the martial, but absolutely, there's some beautiful. These guys that can do double backflips and kick an apple off somebody's head. That's incredibly impressive. It's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, just I definitely agree with you. You said you nailed something on the head, and you've said it repeatedly, and it really is something important for people to think about, which is people join the martial arts because of the martial arts, but they don't stay in the martial arts for the martial arts. You find your own reasoning for staying with something because you have to be able to continue to develop yourself and grow. And when you develop and grow, your thought processes develop and grow, and what you want out of something changes. But when you have a clear path like yours, right? You go, I know exactly what I want out of this. It makes you have an easier time staying with it because you can see value and you can see yourself grow in that. When people are doing things, then they just go, you know what? I want to lose weight. And they go to the martial arts studio and they start losing weight and then they plateau or they stop. Typically at that moment, you usually start to see that their passion for it wanes because they're no longer getting anything out of it. Do I think that there's anything wrong with wanting to do something for the theatrics of it all? Fuck no. Those people get paid way more. I'm just throwing it out there. Stunt dudes get paid fat when they are good at their jobs, right? And that's great and it provides entertainment, but I just don't like it when people take that and lie to people and tell them that is application when it's fucking not. If you want to go out and you want to do jump spinny kicks and all, you want to do all that, you want to do nunchucks, I do nunchucks, love it. You want to do all that, that's awesome. But just base it in reality of how you teach people. Go, this is for dexterity. This is for coordination. This is not what you do when you're protecting yourself because that's not pretty.
Let me say another thing about this guy, Rashid Azaz. Pardon me if I butchered that name in the pronunciation, but it says, what is your view on Chinese martial arts in general? I will say this. I said that I went through a lot of martial arts trying to find my home. And I thought I found my home multiple times. The clouds kind of parted when I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, let me say pros and cons. As far as real-world application, I have not heard or seen a good debate that will beat Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, specifically if you separated all the martial arts. And I think that was proven through the beginning of the UFCs and NHB in general. Having said that, one of the drawbacks to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is it's taught like a bro sport. You see kids' classes being taught with words like, man, you take that and you snap it. Just things that defy. And in that respect, I think for a child, for discipline, for self-respect, for integrity, for all of the values that make up a child that I want to be productive and go into the world, I think on that side of it, unfortunately, a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools, it's lacking. They do have a martial art that they can protect themselves with, but I don't think it breeds a lot of integrity-filled kids. And that's one thing I'm trying to do with my kids program, is I take all of my traditional martial arts background, which is immense, which is arguably bigger than my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tenure, and I try to meld the two. So the kids, my son in general, we bow on and off the mat. There is no line. Whenever we start a competition, if you go before the buzzer, you're disqualified. You're out. You make eye contact. You learn how to shake hands. There's absolutely no profanity on the mat. It's conducted exactly like my traditional martial arts academy that I know made me a different person. So as much as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has made me different with the physicality of it, with the real world application, I don't think I'd be responsible enough to house that in me if I didn't have my traditional martial arts upbringing. Because I can tell you, I did not get that from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You better damn well be a good, responsible person before you have the weapon that is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or it will make you a shitty, intoxicated human being. Because having the power to walk into a room and go, wow, if shit went sideways, I could put everybody to sleep. Unless you have integrity, that makes for a dangerous human being. And there's a lot of assholes out there that take advantage of it.
That's very interesting. I have this nagging thing that I've been thinking about for a very long time, and you just kind of opened my eyes to that a little bit. I always, because now, especially with the phase of how McDojoLife is going and the directions that I'm going, of course, the evolution is to going to the studios, talk to the instructors, and I've been doing that. Every place I go now, I go to a different martial arts studio. I randomly pick them too. I just look on the Google Maps, I type in martial arts, and whatever's closest to my hotel, I go. That's the best way to do it, just so I can get different experiences. And one thing that I've noticed that is baffling to me is you walk into the studio, right above the door, it says, leave your ego at the door. Yeah. But then I look over the mat and it says, this is a black belt school. And it bugs me. It bugs the shit out of me. And I think the reason it bugs me so much is because those two things are contradictory. Either you're taking all this I am black belt bravado, or you're leaving your ego at the door. But what you just said makes a lot of sense, is that traditional martial arts definitely, in my opinion, do teach a lot more traditionally, which is respect, honor, integrity, discipline, where I've never tried to teach my adult classes where I taught ethics in my adult classes. I always left that up to the adult because I don't want to patronize my adult students. But whenever I'm looking at that, I can see that there's a double-edged sword there, because you may just be breeding some fucking assholes. For lack of better words. It's like these people were already unstable, and you could have given them a good outlet, but if they don't take it as an outlet and they take this as a weapon, as a tool, they definitely could just continue to be not only an asshole now, but an asshole who is dangerous. You know?
Well, that's one of the things about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Nothing humbles a man as quickly and as efficiently as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can go into your first Taekwondo class and you may not get humbled. You're going to go into your first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class and you're going to leave there thinking, there's nothing I could do about that. I can't even imagine a scenario. I don't even have a roadmap to hope to get out of that.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're looking at.
Which way to turn, what arm to use. I don't even have an map. You can leave a Taekwondo class, even if you get connected on the jaw, and your brain can go, okay, well, with a little head movement, with a little, maybe I could have blocked that. Your brain can't even compute how to prevent that guy from circumnavigating your body and ending up on your back with arms restricting the blood flow to your brain until a little flutter of your hand saves your fucking life. Your brain can compute how to stop that, because the guy can do it over and over and over again against your will. Having said that, if you ask anybody, even a non-martial artist, if they visited a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, generally speaking, these are general terms, and if they've visited a grocery store, strip mall, Taekwondo academy, and you said, one of these instructors, you have to let babysit your kid, you'd probably go with the Taekwondo instructor because there's discipline, they're bowing, there's no profanity. Now, if somebody broke into the house, I'd want a member of Jiu-Jitsu babysitter. But I've seen countless kids class that are taught like, man, snap, break. It's just like, it's just profanity on the mat with kids. It's taught like a bro sport, and that hurts my feelings because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a big love of mine. But I'm trying to combine the two. At least in my class, that would never be seen.
You're put in a good position to do so. Like anybody who opens up a studio, you're put in that position to make the decision because you are the captain of the ship. You get to decide what's going to happen. And the funny part about martial arts is you don't get to pick and choose who's going to continue your lineage. That's not up to you. Sometimes it's not even up to them. Life just happens, and magically that student that you thought was never going to be anything in your studio, like, oh, he'll only last a year, becomes a guy who lasts 20 and winds up opening a school in your name. Like, people don't see that coming because that's just how life goes. But, that's why it's so important to have that structure and how well you treat your students and teach them very similarly. Because if you pick and choose who's going to be your top student and you're going to put all your effort in there and, I'll only be this way with that one student, then that's all you'll have. And who knows if that student will stick around. Joe had a question again. He said, thoughts on iron egg training? As far as I know, Chinese training, which is what we watched today on my channel.
Man, I'll tell you, I want no part of marble balls, nor do I want to inflict blunt force trauma on my testicles to get there repeatedly. I want no part of it. It actually makes me cringe. I watch that and it scares the hell out of me. Really quickly on leaving a legacy, which, as every black belt, the first half of my career was all competition, and in my opinion, competition is this. I take everything in. Being a teacher then becomes this. You give everything away. But then part of being a black belt in any martial art is leaving a legacy. Whatever your technique and your style, your signature is, you want to leave somebody behind to convey what you think is true. Well, right now, what I've started in Houston is I have an academy now, Houston Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, here locally. But to my knowledge, I think it's the first. We're a 501c3. So.
Oh, really? You're not-for-profit.
We're not for profit. So I teach and I have a consultation. Right now all the modules are closed. We're filled up. But when space arises, and I have a laundry list of emails of people that want to apply to get into the program, the kids program, and I have a consultation with everybody to get in. And whenever you sign up, you can be a benefactor or a contributor. And whether you afford it or not, we take kids, but they have to sign a contract. They have to have a GPA. They have to clean the mat. They have to clean the bathrooms. There's a laundry list of things that they have to do. But so, yes, I actually do. I don't provide lessons for anybody with a check. You have to, and it's not, even on the website. And the website is HollywoodBJJHouston.com. Even at the bottom of the website, it says we're not a first come, first serve. We select people that will make our mats better. And I know that may butthurt a lot of people or hurt some feelings. I don't care. We have a very, very special group of kids and adults. And I don't want anybody toxic to become a cancer on the mat. So we're very careful who we let into this group, because I happen to think that it's a lot like teaching someone and giving them a 9mm Beretta. I only want to do that to specific people on this planet. Same thing with martial arts. There's some kids that don't deserve to be good at jiu-jitsu. There's some kids that I want to be proficient at jiu-jitsu. And I'm very selective on who I let on the mat.
Yeah, that's different, man. Like, it's funny because, like, it's a brick and mortar building. Yeah. And most martial arts that I've seen in the history of me doing this have, if they were a 501c, they would typically go to studios and teach very small classes at like a YMCA, or they teach on like a rented property. That's very interesting that you're able to have a brick and mortar studio that is a 501c3. And I think that it's very beneficial. And first of all, let me just get to what you just said. You said you select who you allow in your program. Now, I don't think that should be exclusive to 501c3. I think that should be everywhere. everywhere, because you're right. Toxic is the word. They become a cancer in your studio, and that spreads. And next thing you know, instead of having one douchebag, you have 15 or 20. And then they're going to take half your students when they leave and open up their own. I promise you that.
Exactly. And if you value what you're teaching, look, my currency, if you're a business for profit, look, there's my chick right there.
Hey, girl.
She trains jiu-jitsu as well. If you're a business for profit, generally speaking, your compensation, your currency is the check. But if you're not, if I'm not in the business, I truly want a legacy. I want a lineage of people that teach my specific brand and style and signature of jiu-jitsu. Then my currency is both being able to scholarship needy kids, but also leaving that legacy. So, for example, I put into play, if you are a contributor, it's price-wise, it's cheaper than anything in the city to train jiu-jitsu. But here's the deal. I don't want people that want to do it for 4 months. It's not worth me for 4 months of tuition if they're going to quit. I want people to commit a certain amount of time to reach a certain level of proficiency. You know what I mean? So that's my currency. If it wasn't, if you're a for-profit business, then, hey, if somebody, you want a month of training, okay, it's this amount, come for a month. Month doesn't mean nothing. I can't make an impact on somebody's life in a month. I can't give them enough I can give them enough to get them in trouble, but not enough to actually satisfy a problem. So, it changes your business model pretty significantly. I want kids that are going to stay there for the long haul. I want kids that are committed to the family, to the academy, and to the martial art. And I want kids that eventually are going to give back.
I think that's a very important. I think it's important, but I think that most people who are instructors in the martial arts really do want that. You do want a lineage. That's why it's so important in the martial arts that we have one. I can't think of any true martial artist that wasn't, one, proud of where they came from, and openly like, this was my instructor, changed my life. This is the man I owe this to, or woman. Last couple, because we're running short on time. I have to say, it's been very, very, very cool talking to you, because pretty much before I get to that, pretty much in between, like anytime we actually interact, it's usually us just being sarcastic. So it's kind of nice to be able to sit down and have an actual chit chat about the martial arts, because it's very insightful. It's been very eye opening. So definitely very cool. Last couple here, because we're going to be wrapping it up. John, let's see here. It says, Sean, as a BJJ practitioner and a parent of child who also trains BJJ, it was tough to pick a school for my son that would teach him the core values you just mentioned. I have also had to instill in him that it is a great responsibility to know martial arts and how to use them appropriately. He just tested and passed his 12-month after 12 months of work to get his grand white belt at 5 years old, which is pretty standard. That's awesome. That's 1 year. In case anybody doesn't train jiu-jitsu, it takes a long time.
I'll add something, there's a lot of parents, in having a kids department, I started my academy in LA in 2004. So I've been teaching kids for a long, long time. And one thing I can tell you is, there's been a huge shift in our culture. For example, in the school system, no one disagrees that a kid should learn math. No one disagrees with that. But nowadays, gym is gone. We don't even teach a kid how to take care of their body or how to eat. Conversely, in a martial arts program, there's a lot of parents that end up coming and they say, well, we were thinking of either, he really wants to do baseball, but we wanted him to do martial arts. To me, and for those of you that have a kids program out there, this is the way that I sell it, but it's not a sell. This is what I firmly believe. To me, I will not let my child go out into the world and potentially ride on a friend's boat if he does not know how to swim. That is a life skill. Swimming is not an elective. Swimming is a life skill just like math. Shame on you if you let a kid come to 16 years old and he can't save his life in a pool of water. Shame the fuck on you. That's part of being a decent human and a decent parent. Conversely, self-defense, to me, maybe not to everybody, but self-defense is a life skill. There are some people that are against combat of any kind, but make no mistake, the people that save their life embrace combat. Those are the people that are going to save their life one day. And I'll tell you, any child that I put out into the world is going to have a commanding knowledge of how to float and swim and potentially save somebody else's life that's drowning. And they're also not going to have to get their will bent and broken when they're 16 and they go to the prom and another dude grabs his chick's ass. What the height of irresponsibility for me to put a kid out there that can't protect himself. I think that's a shame. I'm going to have my kid. He's going to know math. He's going to know how to read. He's going to know how to write. He's going to know how to swim. And he's going to know how to fend himself off and save his life should need be.
Yeah, I always said that martial arts is a responsibility. You know?
What's that?
I always think that martial arts is a responsibility. It's a responsibility that you need to have because what you said earlier hit the nail on the head. The people who frown upon violence and frown upon self-defense and the knowledge of these things are always the ones who are going to be looking over their shoulder for help when they're in need of those things. You know, like
absolutely they are. The person next door that's like, I can't believe you have a gun. Somebody breaks in, they're fucking calling you. They're calling you to come over there with a gun and solve the problem. Look, I mean, there's plenty of people that are irresponsible gun owners, but look, at the end of the day, if somebody breaks into my house and I don't have the means with which to stop my wife from getting raped and my children from getting executed, shame the fuck on me as a human being. Shame the fuck on me. And I'll tell you, the biggest problem with kids' martial arts is a lot of parents, they look at it as, well, I think instead of doing martial arts, we're going to do soccer now. But to me, they're mutually exclusive. Like, you are going to learn self-defense. You can also do soccer, but soccer's an elective. Baseball's an elective. Football's an elective. There is no problem in your life that's going to be solved at the free throw line in a basketball court. Not fucking one. Some guy can slam dunk over your head, but make no mistake. You want to be the one that goes, you know what? You can slam dunk over my head, but if I want to leave the court with your basketball, I'm leaving the court with your basketball. That's the you want to be. And you want to do it with all the love in the world and only use it under duress, but you want to have that ability in your back pocket, man. You want to. There's no way I would put a kid out in the world that couldn't swim and couldn't protect himself, period.
Yeah, man, I think those are two really, really good standards as must-haves in your life. And I never thought about the swimming thing, which is ironic because as a kid, my father tried to teach me how to ride a bicycle. And I was terrible. I was just awful. And I didn't see my dad very often. So it was like every other weekend I'd be able to go see him and he'd work on teaching me how to ride this bicycle. And we did that for a few months and I just didn't get it. Yeah. And then so I just never did it again. And ironically enough, that's why my cardio was so good, is because as a kid, all the kids in the neighborhood, they would go to the sand lot and they would play kickball. So we go to play these open kickball games, right? And they'd be like, they'd come by on their bicycles and they'd be like, hey, we're going to go play kickball. Do you want to go? I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you there. And they were like, why don't you just ride with us? I got this thing to do. And I always told them that. And I always ran there because I was embarrassed. I couldn't ride a fucking bicycle. Yeah. But you know what? I was like, a couple years back, I was like, man, I live in a beautiful beach area. I was like, I want to ride my damn bicycle on the beach. I want to go enjoy this and go day drinking and have a good time. I don't want to have to fucking walk everywhere because I'm getting old. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to ride a bicycle. And you know what happened? After fucking it up for like a week, my balance is terrible. I picked it up. Yeah. And I'm 33. I learned how to ride a bicycle at 31.
Holy man. Fucking good for you, brother.
Man. Like, it's like one of those things where I was like, I'm not going to let you beat me. Like, I've had worse. At least you're not a 350-pound dude sitting on my chest punching me in the mouth. Like nothing is harder than mutual combat with another human being. Nothing's going to try your patience, your timing, your discipline. Nothing tries you more than combat. So like you said, it's a very fundamentally important thing for people to learn, because if you're able to overcome another human being in hand-to-hand combat, which you're basically just pretending to kill each other at that point, right? You're pretending who would win. If there was one stake and it's the end of the world and only one of us is going to allow the other to live, who wins? Then having that is important. And if you can overcome that, you think I get mad in traffic anymore? No. Like, he's not punching me in the face. You know?
It's what I'm talking about. Like, to me, my kids program is the most important aspect of my martial arts career right now. The end of the legacy, you know, I've done competition, now I've started to teach, and now the kids program, leaving the next generation. And I'll tell you, when people say, you know, what are the ancillary benefits of martial arts? Well, first of all, you know, in every aspect, you want to teach your kid to be resilient. You want to teach your kid to not shy away from adversity, because every wonderful thing in my life came after a lump of adversity. Everything, barring none, everything came after something that almost articulately convinced me to turn around and go home. You want to teach your kid to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Life is a fight. So why not start with an actual fight? There's nothing. I mean, look, if somebody does an end around touchdown and you're a middle linebacker, that's a bummer. It's humiliating. But nothing will test a young boy's ego more than being bested by another unarmed man. And he has to ask forgiveness. Please stop, because I'm going to die if you don't. Please, with a flutter of your hand, that saves your life. There is nothing that humbles a kid more than that. Going, maybe he can slam dunk over my head, maybe he can do this, but him doing that to me is a very different level of power over him. And it teaches kids to be humble. And then whenever the tables turn, they're on the other end, it teaches them to be disciplined and respectful. Nothing will tell you. It's just like, you know, a wrestling match, one of the hardest rooms on the planet. You know, it's harder than a basketball practice. It's harder. You know, it breeds men. It breeds men from young boys. And that's what a jiu-jitsu program, a well-run jiu-jitsu program. There's really nothing that's going to stump them after they've been put through a really good program. Having somebody on top of them, they can't get a lung full of air. They can't get them off. They don't even have a recipe to get the person off. But that's a more accurate metaphor for the adversity in life than almost life itself. You know, there's financial problems that feel like there's a refrigerator on your chest. Well, why not practice with a fucking refrigerator on your chest?
His name is Steve. He is AKA the refrigerator.
Yeah.
But hey, man, before we wrap it up, thank you so much for being on. I have to say it's probably one of the more insightful ones that I've been able to do. And I've had a lot of people on, and it's very cool to be able to have you on. Very insightful with your knowledge of the martial arts. I agree with almost everything that you said 100%. I think that's awesome. I think it's good that you run a 501c3 academy, which is incredible to me. That's also a very cool thing to do. I just want you to plug yourself real fast, even though you might not want to. Where can people find you? How can they find out about your book? What projects do you have coming up? Just go ahead and hit them up real fast before we go.
You can check out the Academy website. We have adults and kids. We're very proud of our kids program, but it is on an invite basis. But check it out. It's HollywoodBJJHouston.com. This is my book right here. It's called Jane 2. And please, if you guys get it and you read it, shoot me a Facebook message. I answer every single one that's about the book. It's important to me. It's something I'm incredibly proud of. And if you want to know why I got into the martial arts, and the first moments of combat in my life, almost through college, it's in that book. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it at iTunes. As a matter of fact, I narrated the audiobook. So you can get the audiobook on Audible, iTunes, any of your normal bookstores. So there's not, any bookstore link they can order for. Amazon, it's readily available pretty much everywhere. Just finished a film called, it's tentatively titled Acceleration, but I got to do it. One of the interesting parts is Ben Saunders and Chuck Liddell were in it. So
nice.
A couple of Killer Bee Ben Saunders and the Iceman Chuck Liddell. So it's kind of cool getting an opportunity to hang with them on set. But it's tentatively titled Acceleration. That'll be out sometime after summer, fall. And I'm here. I'm in Houston, Texas, and I train out of my garage, and I have another secret location for the academy, which if you guys want to do any training, look me up on the website and go to the contact page, because right now we're at capacity. But on a case-by-case basis, as availability presents itself, we accept new students after a consultation. And it is a little bit of a different process because, like I said, we're very specific and careful of who we want to let into the group. But I think we have a kind of amazing group of kids, and my boys are in the program. My wife's in the program, and it's very close to our heart. But we're pretty proud of what we're doing here.
Definitely, man. Well, hey, dude, thank you once again. Like I said, I'll be in Houston in February sometime, so we'll get out there. We'll get some training in. I'll try to find some Shyster studios around your area. That'll be fun. But yeah, dude, thanks once again. It really means a lot that you were hopped in on here. You know, I appreciate the interaction on the page and the support. It really means a lot. It's the only real thing that keeps me doing this is the fact that I have such good support and such a good structure of people who really give a shit, I guess you could say, about the martial arts. And I know that I might go across it in a different way, but I will say this. One thing I've noticed is I might be doing it differently, but whatever I'm doing right now is working.
Yeah.
So
do it, brother. Do it. God bless you, man. I love your page. So of those of you out there, help a brother out. Go to his Patreon. What do you call it? Patreon page?
Patreon, yeah, my Patreon
page, and help him out so we can continue to get this this humor out there. It's one of my favorite Instagram pages. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I check and see what he posted because it's a combination giggle, chuckle, eye roll. It's all the above, man.
Yeah, man, it's a good time, and I really enjoy doing it, and it's cool to be able to interact with guys like you. So thank you so much for that. Anybody, before I wrap it up here, anybody that enjoys what we do, like, share, comment, subscribe. Believe it or not, those things hold extreme value, and they go a long way, especially when you're trying to get more eyeballs on issues like we're trying to get our eyeballs on. Check out Sean Patrick Flanery's stuff. Follow him on Instagram. It's SP Flanery, I do believe. On Instagram, and then I guess I will catch you guys later. If I did not get to your questions, I try to keep these to an hour, so I apologize if I didn't get to your questions, but you can always send me a DM, and I'll be sure to answer anything that you have, and if it's something that's super relevant, you know, and I'll try to ask Sean and then hopefully get you guys in contact, and maybe he'll answer your questions then, you know, but I'm not going to blow him up for stupid shit. So if you just ask me something dumb, I'm not going to ask him. So there you go. All right, dude. But I'll catch you later, man.